Today we'll be working in my workbook called Jacob Returns to Canaan and looking at the table of contents. We have already we've already done the first 5 chapters. We've did chapter 1 where Jacob prepares to meet Esau. This is where he sets up several herds to go ahead of him to meet Esau, and he splits up all the people in groups. And at the end of that, we see him moving his family members over the crossing, and he himself alone is in the campsite. That sets up for chapter 2, where he has a dream and it isn't a dream. Sorry, it's wrong. Jacob wrestles with God. And this is where his name changes to Israel, and he is touched on his hip. So from this point on, he will always be limping. And it's a wrestle of control. It's more than a wrestle of physical strength. Then in chapter 3, he actually meets Esau, and it actually turns out to be a really good meeting, not a problem meeting. And so we see that. And Esau invites him down to the area of Shur, which is where he lives. But Jacob isn't going to follow him, although he says he will. Then in chapter 4, we actually have a story that children shouldn't read. It's Dinah and the Shechemites. This is where Dinah gets raped by the Shechemites. So that's definitely not for children. In chapter 5, Jacob then returns to Bethel. He finally gets down to Bethel where he had his original dream of the angels ascending and descending to heaven. And he makes an altar there and he recommits his life to God. Now we're going to get into chapter 6, the death of Rachel and Isaac. The death of Rachel and Isaac, Genesis 35, 16 through 29. The scriptures say, Genesis 35, 16. Then they moved on from Bethel. While they were still some distance from Ephrath, which we now know as Bethlehem, Rachel began to give birth and had great difficulty. And as she was having great difficulty in childbirth, the midwife said to her, Don't despair, for you have another son. From Bethel, Jacob's group traveled towards where? Ephrath. Ephrath's other newer name is right below on the map. Below it on the map. What is it? Ephrath is Bethlehem. Sorry, not Jerusalem. Yeah, Bethlehem. Did I say Jerusalem before? I don't remember. It is Bethlehem. Ephrath is Bethlehem. It looks to be about 30 miles in distance from Bethel. Who is giving birth? Rachel. But we already know about the child, that it is a boy. So how old is everyone at this point? Since we have come to the conclusion that Joseph, the same age as Dinah, was 15 when the family lived in Shechem, we know that Joseph will be 17 when he's sold into slavery. We're going to decide that he's 16 in this story. Therefore, everyone's ages are Jacob, 107, his first wife, Leah, 43, and her children, Reuben, 23, 22, 21, 20, Ishkar 7, Zebulun 16, and Dinah, her daughter, 16. His second wife, Rachel, died at the age of 42, her son Joseph 16, and Benjamin is just born. His first concubine, Bilhah, and her sons, Dan 19, Naphtali 18, and his second concubine, Zilpah, and her sons, Gad 18 and Asher 17. The scriptures continue. Genesis 35:18. And she breathed her last, for she was dying. She named her son Benoni, but his father named him Benjamin. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. Over her tomb, Jacob set up a pillar, and to this day that pillar marks Rachel's tomb. What did Rachel name her son? Benoni. Benoni means son of my sorrow, either the sorrow of her dying or the son relieving her of all her sorrow at not having another son. What did Jacob name the boy? Benjamin. Benjamin means son of my right hand, which means son of strength. Where is Rachel buried? Just outside Ephrath. Picture above is above right is Rachel's tomb today. Moses, who wrote the book of Genesis about 500 years later, says something about the pillar that marked Rachel's tomb. What did he say? That the pillar marked Rachel's tomb up through the day of Moses. It is interesting that Jacob does not bring Rachel's body to be entombed into the cave of Machpelah, where Abraham, Sarah, and Rebekah are. This is only about 22 miles away. This cave will also be where Isaac, Jacob, and Leah will be, the cave of Machpelah. Was she buried near Bethlehem due to the disgrace? No, the pillar was such that it lasted for a long time. Best reason seems to be the difficulty of carrying it further with a large group of family, slaves, and possessions. The scriptures continue. Genesis 35:21. Israel moved on again and pitched his tent beyond Migdal Eder. While Israel was living in that region, Reuben went in and slept with his father's concubine, Bilhah, and Israel heard of it. All right. Where did Jacob pitch the tents of his group? Near Migdal Eder. The best guess is that Migdal Eder does not represent a town, but an important structure. Migdal Eder means Tower of the Flock. It appears Jacob's group is still around the area of Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. What did Reuben do? He slept with his father's concubine. Remember, that's not his mother. It's a mother of other of his brothers, though. How old are Reuben and Bilhah? We figure Reuben is 23. We don't know the age of Bilhah, however. However, since Leah is probably 43, Bilhah has to be near her age, so between 40 and 50 years of age. Did Reuben's father hear of it? Yes. Why did this happen? No one really knows, but there's some theories. Assuming it just was an attraction, Reuben may be either attempting a power grab or increase the stature of his mother Leah now that Rachel is dead. With the death of Rachel, who had been Jacob's favorite, Bilhah, Rachel's servant, may have been able to move into the favored role. Reuben's action make Bilhah detestable to Jacob, thus Leah has a better chance for power in the household. But again, this is just one theory. We don't know why. In 2 Samuel below, Absalom, David's son, in his desire to obtain the throne, does what to humiliate his father. 2 Samuel 16:20 through 22. Absalom said to Ahithophel, "Give us your advice. What should we do?" Ahithophel answered, "Sleep with your father's concubines, whom he left to take care of the palace. Then all of Israel will hear that you have made yourself obnoxious to your father, and the hands of everyone with you will be more resolute." So they pitched a tent for Absalom on the roof, and he slept with his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. So David's son, Absalom, sleeps with his concubines to humiliate his father. Although we do not see any punishment as a result of Reuben's actions here, we know that he loses the birthright of the eldest, which is a double portion. Who gets a double portion? See below. 1 Chronicles 5:1. The sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, he was the firstborn, but when he defiled his father's marriage, that his rights as firstborn were given to the sons of Joseph, son of Israel. So his double portion goes to the Joseph's sons, which we will find out later. Each of Joseph's sons gets a portion, which is a double portion, really, for Joseph. So the scriptures continue. Genesis 35:22b. Jacob had 12 sons. The sons of Leah, Reuben, the firstborn of Jacob, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Rachel's servant, Bilhah, Dan and Naphtali. The sons of Leah's servant, Zilpah, Gad and Asher. These were the sons of Jacob who were born to him in Padan Aram. Except two things. One, Benjamin, of course, is not born in Padan Aram. And, of course, they don't show Dinah, who's Leah's daughter. Scriptures continue. Jacob came home to his father Isaac in Mamre, near Kiriath Arba, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had stayed. Isaac lived 180 years. Then he breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people, old and full of years, and his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. Where is Isaac living when Jacob comes to visit him? In Kiriath Arba, which is also Hebron. Is this the same place that Abraham, Isaac's father, had stayed? Yes, indeed it is. This is also where Jacob's grandmother, Sarah, the wife of Abraham, had died. How old is Isaac when he dies? He is 180 years of age. If Isaac was 60 when Jacob was born, and he's 180 at the time of his death, how old is Jacob now? So, 120, right? Yeah, 120 years of age, Jacob is. Therefore, this story is inserted earlier than it actually happens in the storyline. If Jacob is 120 and he had Joseph when he was 91, then how old would Joseph be right now? Oh, geez, 29. Yet in Genesis 37:2, the story we have of Joseph is when he's 17. Basically, Moses is finishing the emphasis on Isaac, Jacob, and Esau before moving on to the next batch of stories. So we have then the crossword at the end of this chapter. So let's make sure that, okay. Who is Benjamin's full brother? Number 4, that's Joseph. Number 7, Isaac was buried at the same place as Abraham and Sarah, the cave of Machpelah. Number 8, who is the mother of Benjamin? Rachel. Number 9, which concubine did Reuben sleep with? Bilhah, right? Bilhah. And which town is Isaac living in? Mamre. Okay, one down. Who's the concubine of Jacob's that Reuben did not sleep with? Okay, Zilpah. How many sons did Jacob have? 12. What is the other name of Ephrath? Bethlehem. Uh-oh. Yeah, there, Bethlehem. What town are they heading towards with Rachel when Rachel died? Ephrath. And 6, who is the father of Benjamin? Jacob. That's the end of this chapter. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye now.